The story of Lauren Booth, a British journalist who converted to Islam. Lauren Booth is a British broadcaster, journalist, and pro-Palestinian activist. He is the younger brother-in-law of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who converted to Islam in 2010. His journey to becoming a Muslim is quite interesting, because previously he really hated Islam. During his time as a journalist, Booth has discovered many new things and visited various conflict areas, such as Palestine. During his journey in the conflict country, Booth actually felt peace from the civilians who were victims of war. In a video he uploaded to YouTube, Booth said he first learned about Islam through the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center on 9/11. Booth said this tragedy made Islam a frightening religion. According to him, Islam has always been synonymous with war from the West. However, at that time, he understood that the tragedy at the WTC was not the work of all Muslims, but rather the work of a group of terrorists who happened to be Muslim, journey to know Islam. He then shared his experience of getting to know Islam in 2008, precisely during the month of Ramadan, when he was a volunteer in Palestine. In this country of conflict, Booth actually received good treatment and felt peace. Once it was January, and I didn't know that it was winter in the Middle East, so I didn't have a raincoat. I remember walking on Ramallah Street. Then an old woman wearing a hijab saw me and said something in Arabic. Then she grabbed my arm, he recalled. He muttered while grimacing to himself, even thinking that the old woman was going to kidnap him. I was amused myself. I thought, okay, so this is a grandmother's kidnapping? Is this what happened? Then he looked me up and down, and he took me to his bed, opened the cupboard, took a big raincoat, then put it on my body while saying, "Oh my God." The old woman apparently didn't like foreigners. Then the old woman gave him a telephone number. I was told to walk with this coat, so he said he couldn't stand strangers in his city and being cold while he had a coat in his cupboard. "Do you understand what I mean?" he said, moved. Not only that kindness, Booth also felt the peace of someone who truly believes. He even revealed his story about when he really wanted to study Islam. Fasting is a trigger to convert to Islam. Then one night in the month of Ramadan, Booth visited a very poor family in a refugee tent in the Rafah area. The tent is where Faris Odeh, a Palestinian boy who was shot dead by the Israeli Defense Forces in 2000, came from. When Booth entered the house, there was only one room with empty cement floors and walls. There were only shabby mattresses, which one family was using. He then asked the mother why, in war conditions like this, they were still fasting. "You say that God made you live without eating for 30 days, but on the 31st day you had no food. God made you thirsty for 30 days, and on the 31st day, you only had cloudy water or nothing at all. What's the purpose? Why do you fast?" Booth asked, confused. The mother then looked at him and gave an answer that made Booth even more stunned. "I fast in the month of Ramadan to remember the plight of the poor," answered the mother. Hearing the mother's answer, Booth's mind became increasingly spinning. I don't understand. He doesn't have anything but can fast to remember other people's trouble? How can he remember other people's poverty when he himself has nothing? Wondered to himself. Decision to want to study Islam. At that time, Booth thought more and more about God, Islam, and being Muslim. According to him, this is precisely the condition that religious people actually experience. In conditions like this, the mother and her family still believe in the love of their God and remember their fellow human beings. If this is Islam, make me a Muslim, because there really is faith where you believe in God. You can still feel grateful when God doesn't give you anything that day. If there is faith where you have a bowl filled with food and give it to foreigners, wow, God, you should have faith like that, he said.